Welcome to First Edition, the all things comics, film, and pop culture web show. I'm George Aguilar, and I've got a great show to share with you all today. First, in comics, film, and pop culture news, Frank Miller's Sin City: A Dame to Kill For debuts in theaters this Friday, and I can't wait to see it. As a huge fan of the first film, I'm really looking forward to Rodriguez's return to Sin City. This film is a gritty crime story adapted from Frank Miller's acclaimed Sin City stories from Dark Horse Comics. This film stars an ensemble cast that includes many new cast members, including Josh Brolin, Eva Green, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and returning cast members like Jessica Alba, Bruce Willis, and Mickey Rourke. If this film is anything like the first one, viewers can expect a lot of highly stylized action matched by an equally grim and gritty story. I also saw a very cool billboard advertisement for the film in my small Texas town of Lockhart. Other than being very cool, what's interesting about this is that I've never before seen a billboard advertisement for a film in Lockhart. I can only speculate that the influx of people and constant flow of traffic from the new Highway 130 has made it an ideal location for advertising the film. Sin City: A Dame to Kill For smashes into theaters this Friday, August 22nd, 2014. Fans of the Aliens, Predator, and Prometheus films and comics can rejoice. It was announced that Dark Horse Comics will be delving into a massive franchise crossover called Prometheus: Fire and Stone. This series actually takes place after the events of the Prometheus film, with a new starship sent to investigate the mysterious disappearance of the Prometheus starship. As a huge fan of each of these franchises, I'm excited for these comics, especially since Dark Horse has an excellent track record of publishing incredible stories with these licensed properties. Prometheus: Fire and Stone is written by Paul Tobin and illustrated by Juan Faria. Look for the first issue to arrive in comic shops September 10th, 2014. Doctor Who fans, the wait is over. The Doctor arrives this Saturday, August 23rd, 2014 at 8/7 Central Time on BBC America. Season 8 begins with a new Doctor as Peter Capaldi inherits the sonic screwdriver from Matt Smith's beloved 11th Doctor. Previews of Season 8 seem to indicate a darker tone, with returning friends such as Clara, Vastra, and Strax, and enemies like the Daleks, and what sounds like it could be the voice of Davros heralding his return. While I've been greatly saddened each time the Doctor regenerates, I'm optimistic that I'll end up loving this one as well. Whovians, be sure to tune in this Saturday. Lastly, for all you Venom fans out there, Marvel is taking the Guardians of the Galaxy to the home planet of the symbiotes. Coming this November, Guardians of the Galaxy number 21 kicks off the storyline Planet Venom, written by Brian Michael Bendis and illustrated by Valerio Schiti. This storyline will shine a light on Marvel's fan-favorite symbiote Venom and his homeworld. Venom has a huge fan base, but his origins have been a mystery ever since the first appearance of the black costume way back in Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars number 8. Current Venom, Flash Thompson, has been tagging along with the Guardians of the Galaxy since the 2014 Free Comic Book Day special edition of Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't wait to see what's in store for Venom and the Guardians of the Galaxy, so look for this book in November. And now for reviews. I just read DC Comics Wonder Woman number 33 and I was blown away by it. When DC Comics relaunched with the New 52, I had heard this was one of its best new series, but I had never got around to reading an issue. After reading issue number 33 by writer Brian Azzarello with cover and interior illustrations from Cliff Chiang and colorist Matthew Wilson, I really wish I had. This book continues the Firstborn storyline. The Firstborn is the seemingly omnipotent firstborn son of Zeus and Hera, and he is on a mission to destroy Olympus. This issue picks up in the middle of the Firstborn's assault on the Amazons and Wonder Woman's allies, who are being overwhelmed by his forces. They are also fighting a battle without their greatest warrior, as Wonder Woman has been captured by the Firstborn. This is an action-packed issue that is building to a cataclysmic conclusion. Azzarello's script and characterization is impeccable. Every character feels like a fully fleshed character, and there are a lot of strong character moments in this issue. Chang's cover and interior illustrations seem deceptively simplistic, but pack an incredible amount of detail into every panel that perfectly brings the story to life. Matthew Wilson also deserves high marks for his exceptional coloring work that accents Chang's illustrations and creates a truly visceral reading experience. If this single issue is an example of the exceptional quality of this book, then I can't wait to read it from the beginning and pick up the next issue when it hits shelves. Next is Kick-Ass 3 number 8 from Marvel Icon, and what a mixed bag this issue is. Kick-Ass 3 number 8 is the finale to the third volume of Kick-Ass stories, and also what seems very likely to be the last story in the Kick-Ass mythos. This issue is written by star writer-artist creative team of Mark Millar and John Romita Jr., with coloring from Dean White and Michael Kelleher, and inks from Tom Palmer. While this story is a fitting end to the modern-day superhero saga, for me it felt rushed and a little shoot-in. This story takes place immediately after the previous issue's events, with Kick-Ass and Hit-Girl racing to meet Don Genovese with his mob army and Vic Gigante with his team of corrupt cops head-on. The stakes are as high as ever in this issue, and this issue delivers in action by the bloody fistful, but to me it just seems very rushed and a little too easy a battle for our heroes. While Kick-Ass faces a threat that effectively challenges him, Hit-Girl makes short work of an army of the worst crime figures in the Western Hemisphere. Hit-Girl also seems one step ahead of her enemies, and while it makes for some cool moments, she never seems to be in any danger at all. The whole time I was expecting a Mother Russia type of fighter to step forward, or even for Don Genovese to be a deceptively fragile looking fighter of some type, but there are none, and Hit-Girl literally cuts through her enemies like tissue. Another problem with this issue is that it makes a lot of the story beats from some of the preceding issues seem irrelevant, especially the story beats with Justice Forever, who don't even appear in the main story of this issue. On the positive side, Millar crafts a fast-paced action story, and it really shines with plenty of great character moments. Romita Jr.'s illustrations are also as dynamic as ever, with the high level of quality his fans have come to expect from his work. There are also some great extras in this book, including after-credits scenes, a cast member salute similar to the one at the end of the Predator film, and an afterwards from the creators that are all well worth the read. Overall, this story is a fitting end to the Kick-Ass stories, and ties up all loose ends, and even leaves an opening for potential future stories. I also read another offering from Second Sight Studios, a supernatural mystery story called Hunt. Hunt number 0 is written by Alex Barranco, with a cover illustration from Carlos Vila, interior art from Anthony Brown, and lettering from Chris Allen, with Bradley Golden serving as editor. Hunt number 0 begins in a remote location where a woman is at the mercy of a maniac and moments away from becoming a human sacrifice. That is until a mysterious figure with a dark past named Michael arrives with questions and motives of his own. This is an interesting read and shows a lot of promise. Barranco crafts a strong introductory issue that leaves the reader wanting more. Vila's cover illustration is equally engrossing and definitely attracts the eye, as I found myself anxious to jump right in and find out what this story is all about. Brown's interior illustrations are clean and descriptive and adeptly brings the story to life. I also enjoyed the revelation on the final page of the story, and I look forward to reading future stories that will hopefully reveal what the implications of such a revelation could mean. Hunt number 0 is a worthwhile read that I thoroughly enjoyed. If you're a fan of supernatural mysteries, this book is right up your alley, so check it out. Another comic I read was the Marvel Now release Amazing Spider-Man number 3. This comic continues the adventures of the newly returned Peter Parker to the mantle of Spider-Man, after his apparent death at the hands of Dr. Octopus, and he is still dealing with the fallout from Doc Ock's reign as the superior Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man number 3 is written by famed Spidey writer Dan Slott, with cover and interior art from Humberto Ramos, inks from Victor Olazaba, and colors from Edgar Delgado. This book continues adjusting readers to the new status quo since Peter's return. There is a lot going on in this book. We see the mysterious woman with spider powers, Electro in his increasingly unstable state, Anna Maria Marconi and the rest of the scientists from Parker Industries, Peter Parker, SpiderMan, doing his best to balance the chaos of his life and teaming up with his ex-wife's new boyfriend, and a vengeance-driven Black Cat plotting her revenge against our favorite wall crawler. Like I said, there is a lot going on in this comic. Slott's story is solid and his characterizations are spot on. I also commend him on his ability to expertly maneuver so many plot threads. Ramos's kinetic style is a great fit for Slott's fast-paced story. I am also greatly impressed with how clean his cover and interior illustrations are in this issue. At times his illustrations can seem cluttered and jumbled, but it seems like Ramos took extra care in this issue to produce very clean work. I'm really enjoying these books, and I'm looking forward to what this fantastic creative team has in store for our webhead in upcoming issues. Lastly, I read the latest Walking Dead comic. Like Amazing Spider-Man, this story has a lot of moving pieces. I'm also still trying to figure out what kind of threat will arise to Rick and the survivors resulting from the new status quo. Image's The Walking Dead number 130 is written by series creator Robert Kirkman, along with longtime cover and interior illustrator Charlie Adler, inks from Stefano Gaudiano, and gray tones from Cliff Rathburn. This story continues with the previous issue's efforts to reacquaint readers with the cast post-time-lapse. In this issue, Rick catches up with Maggie Green, who is the prosperous leader of the Hilltop Refuge. Negan tries to persuade Magda and the new arrivals to help him. Carl makes a surprising request to his father, and two stranded survivors fight against overwhelming zombie masses to try and return to the safety of the hilltop. Like all of Kirkman's Walking Dead arcs, there is a calm before the storm in which readers are given the chance to get to know and care for the compelling characters in Kirkman's stories before they are mutilated or killed in some gruesome fashion. What's interesting about this new status quo is that there doesn't seem to be any impending threats, and Rick's utopia literally seems to be the real deal, with the only real threat being Negan, who is securely incarcerated. In fact, I'm actually surprised because I'm not really seeing where the threat will come from, because it looks like Magda and her group may actually let their collective guard down and embrace Rick's haven. Of course, in the world of The Walking Dead, it's only a matter of time before things fall apart. As always, Kirkman crafts believable, well-written characters and delivers strong character moments. Adler's cover and interior illustrations are consistently great, and I'm a big fan of his storytelling. Overall, this is another solid installment of The Walking Dead that offers readers insight into the new world order Rick has built in the wake of the all-out war storyline. My only concern is for readers who are expecting non-stop action to match the all-out war storyline, and if so, this issue is not that at all. Now for a new Cover the Cover. On this segment of Cover the Cover, I'll discuss one of my favorite comic covers of all time, Mystery in Space number 90. When I first saw this cover, I was blown away by the fantastic sci-fi imagery that harkens back to the classic pulp sci-fi art of the 1950s and earlier. This cover was illustrated by comics great Carmine Infantino with inks from Murphy Anderson and published back in March of 1964. This issue features hero Adam Strange in a race against time to prevent the collision of two planets in a story titled Planets in Peril. What's so incredible about this cover is that every time I look at it, it manages to take my breath away. The incredible details in this cover are phenomenal. I especially love this rendition of hero Adam Strange as he blasts into orbit. His heroic poise shows an incredible confidence that can't be matched. I can only imagine what children thought when they saw this incredible cover back in March of 1964, how fearless and natural this cover is in its rendition of an Earthman flying vesselless through space. This is an iconic cover that transcends the comic book medium and offers a glimpse into the past of man's boldness and desire for discovery in space. Lastly, I'd like to end the show with a review of Terminator: The Burning Earth. As a kid, I was a huge fan of acclaimed illustrator Alex Ross, and I always wanted to read this book, but could never find it. When I happened across Terminator the Burning Earth at a local half-price books, I had to get it. This edition of Terminator the Burning Earth is published by iBooks and is headlined as being the digitally remastered collector's edition, which collects issues 1 through 5 of the series that was originally published by Now Comics. This story is written by Ron Fortier with cover and interior illustrations from Alex Ross. Terminator the Burning Earth is set in the apocalyptic future world where Skynet is all-powerful and all humans can do is die, fight, and run. This story is literally one of the bleakest stories I've ever read and perfectly captures the horrifying future Sarah Connor was fighting so desperately to prevent. This story is as dark as it gets, with Skynet boasting about how effectively it has exterminated humanity, but resolving to set into motion an endgame to completely destroy the final remnants of humanity. Cue John Connor and his die-hard renegades making a last stand against Skynet. This story shows what an apocalyptic future should look like. Yes, I'm looking at you, X-Men Days of Future Past film. There are no spiffy uniforms and clean-cut heroes in this story. There is only John Connor and the last of humanity who fight and run because it's all that's left in this doomed world. This was a superb read that I really enjoyed as much, if not more, than the actual Terminator films. Fortier's script is lean and fast-paced while never missing a beat. He also deserves credit for crafting interesting characters who are here 1 second and blasted to atoms the next. Ross's art is hauntingly beautiful and highly detailed. His illustrations perfectly capture the cold and calculating machines as well as the hot-blooded rage of the survivors. If you were to buy this book on the merits of Ross's illustrations alone, it would be well worth it. This edition of the book also includes an eye-opening introduction from acclaimed comics writer Jim Krueger that shows how much respect Krueger has for this story and its creators, as well as reprinted cover illustrations. This was an excellent read I thoroughly enjoyed and well worth adding to any comics fan's library collection. Well, that's a wrap for another webisode of First Edition, the all things comics, film, and pop culture web show. If you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm George Aguilar, and thanks for viewing the show.